Well, events was super fun, but it's only half the picture. Today we're going to look at properties and dynamically adding classes and styles. It's going to be ace. Well, yesterday we had a lot of fun catching these retweet events and these click events and incrementing our values here as users clicked on them. But what we want to do today is apply some styling here. I'd love this to be red if the user has clicked on it already, and so they know that they've already favorited it or already retweeted it. Let's have a look at how we might go about doing that. First of all, you can use property values to get a handle to the actual DOM element. So these square brackets, unlike our round brackets, give us handles to the actual DOM element. So this is properties rather than events. So I can say style.color, for instance, equals. Now, you could have put an expression in here, but in this case I want to actually put a string, so I'm going to double quote that, which seems a bit weird, but it makes sense if you think of this normally as executing code, but in our case I'm assigning a property value. If I actually just set that, you'll see that my color changes here. Now that's kind of cool. I could maybe have a method that did something here, but none of that's really super ideal. What I'd like is actually to control all this stuff via classes, and that gives us a reason to talk about how CSS works with components. So our feed component here, which is super handy, I know, for instance, that I have a .like. The styling is for the like heart, and for the retweet, it's .retweet. So I can actually just begin to style those right here. Now I'm going to set these to, again, I'll do our color red, and I think I might need to make this pretty important because there's going to be already cascading styling, and that is going to be more specific than what I'm adding here. So let's just make those color and like and retweet to be here, and refresh this to make sure that they actually load those refresh style sheets. So there we go. Those things are now red because I've styled them here, which is kind of cute. But the nice thing I want to talk about was just this component referencing here is going to be relative to our feed component. So I don't have to worry about overriding this style in other areas of the app because this is only going to apply to this particular component. So that's super cool. In fact, what we're going to do next, would really be good if we just applied it to the icon. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to actually provide a class on these. So why don't I set this up to be a class? So instead of like, I'll make this liked and retweeted. And what I'd like to do is that when I have liked this particular element, I want it to then get this styling. So I'm going to have to refresh because those styles are going to be aggressively cached. So what I'm going to do now is inside my particular liked element here, I'm just going to add a class using this directive called ngClass. Now what this lets you do is it lets you apply a class to this element if it matches some given criteria. So I'm going to add, for instance, the I think I call this liked. No, liked. I'm going to add liked to this if is user in collection tweet.favorites, I think I called it. And I'm going to have a look if Glenn's in that collection. So this is just the method I asked before, but this is just a map that's going to say I'm going to add this style if this test passes. And that's pretty much all I need to do there. And I'm going to add a similar operation to my retweet icon. But in this case, I'm going to look at retweets, and if that is correct, I'm going to add retweeted to the class, and I'm going to save that. Now what should happen is if I am in this user collection, tweet.retweets, then the retweeted class is going to be applied to this element. Similarly, if I'm in the liked collections or the favorite collections over here, I'm going to have this new liked class applied to my favorite. So let's have a look at that. Unexpected closing div after Glenn. I reckon I've not closed my brackets correctly, which is there, and then I should be right. And here we are. I see I'm in this retweets and this favorites. I must have already been in those collections. I'll now add myself to that favorite. It goes red and I'm in the list. goes red, but I can't click it twice because we already add those tests. So that's it for today, team. We've covered properties and events. So remember, the round brackets were our events, for instance, our click event, and the square brackets were properties. We said we could hack directly on the DOM element by just doing things like style.color, or we can also take advantage of these directives to do conditional styling by adding classes as they're needed. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we will, as promised, finally get around to adding our tweets to this list, but I hope that was helpful because we needed a background in events and properties in order to be able to do that tomorrow. So look forward to catching up with you then. It's going to be great.